Greetings, everyone. Brad here from Mild Mannered EDC. Today, we're going to take a look at a couple of mild mannered EDC knives, and we're going to do a classic mild mannered review. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Kev here, and I am ready to do my mild mannered review on mild mannered EDC's knives here. I'm just messing around a little bit. Brad is a great dude, and he sent me a few knives to check out, and I am ready to kind of do a final review of the three of them so I can get those back to him. I didn't do too much use with these, but I did carry them a little bit. I did try to use them slightly. I fidgeted with them a bit, and so I do have some conclusions on them. I want to start here with the MBK VLD, and this is a Peter Carey design. I believe it's Peter Carey design. You can see here, see the maker's mark there. MBK on this side. We're working with M390. We're working with micarta here, and it's kind of an interesting design. You kind of have like a full micarta build with the handle, because each scale is micarta. It's a liner lock, and then you have the backspacer, which is micarta as well. Now there are, the liners in there, which I believe are steel, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You have a very interesting blade on this. Very pokey, stabby type blade here. So good for any kind of penetrating cuts you need. It has a pretty cool little swedge here at the end. And you can see there's kind of this flat, and then there's this grind right here, which looks like a hollow grind, but again, I think it's one of those faux hollow grinds, and it's really a flat grind. So I'm going to go ahead and call that a flat grind here along the bottom there. Comes to a very good edge. It's pretty thin behind the edge. I'd probably say high teens. And it slices very well. This is a good cutter. And overall, I kind of like the look of it, but it's not really my style. I probably wouldn't pick one of these up myself just because of aesthetics. It's not my preferred taste, and it's also a bit thick with two C's. It's just kind of a thick boy, and for the size and everything, it just, for me, that doesn't quite work. But I definitely see why people like this knife. We are off center here. You can tell we're off center by a good bit over to the show side there. So that's not great. I did try to tighten the pivot a little bit. Of course, it has a free spinning pivot, so I had to get two Torx bits and kind of wedge them together and hold the knife up, and it's always a pain if you don't have like a vise or something. And I'm not going to put this in a vise. It's not my knife. I don't have a vise anyway. But yeah, so we're off center there. We're not rubbing at all. And I couldn't get it centered. And even tightening the pivot a little bit did not center it, but it kind of hindered the action a little bit. So I kind of just turned it back to where it was. We have the very slightest bit of play. Now it's gone, it seems like, after I tightened it a little. So whatever I did got the play out of there, and we still have very good action on the close. When I got it, it was kind of more of a guillotine close, and it'll get there again, I think, see, it's coming. Sometimes it just takes a few, deployments and closings to get it going. I really do not like the flipper tab on this knife. It has a good amount of jimping there. And that with the detent and the way that the scales are, because they're so thick, your finger kind of gets stuck in the scales. When you deploy the flipper, your finger slides down into the scale here, and just drags. And I've actually lost like pieces of skin. You can see my skin like on the back of the scale there. It's just kind of unnecessary. It's uncomfortable. And the detent's a bit stiff, so it just makes the whole experience a little bit worse. We also have a little bit of lock stick. You can hear it click when I disengage. Hear that? One more time just so you can hear it. So there's a little bit of lock stick. The drop action's great on this. Yeah, so those things all are not fantastic. If you kind of get used to it, like if I were to carry this knife all the time, I would know that I can just flick and kind of get my finger out of there like that, and then I wouldn't have any issues. But, you know, I don't want to have to do that kind of stuff or remember what to do with my knife. Carry-wise, this clip is just so tight. There's so much tension on this clip. I honestly had jeans that I normally have no problem with any clip, and these would just would not go in. It was so tight. And then I have some jeans that are a little thinner, and it would eventually pop in, but it's just really aggressive, and it was tearing up my pocket. So I carried this maybe one time, and other than that, I've had it on my desk playing with it to kind of give it some use, so I could, you know, at least give you a little bit of feedback on it. So I don't have a ton of like carry use with it, but that's because I couldn't really carry it. So that's not great, but I mean, it is a cool knife. I definitely see the appeal to it, and it's always possible that this clip is a one-off thing, or maybe you just need to loosen something up, but I'm not going to go messing around with a knife that's not mine. So that's the VLD here from MBK, guys. I don't think I can personally recommend this. If it's a design you absolutely love and you don't mind those things that I mentioned, okay. It does work for a lefty because it's a liner lock, so you don't have any pressure issues. The clip only carries on the one side, so you can't really reverse the clip. But you can open and close the knife pretty easily, just like you would if you were right-handed. Obviously, it has the righty liner lock, but we're all used to that at this point. Closing action is very satisfying. I will say I enjoyed playing with it for that reason. And it is a cool knife, cool design here from Peter Carey. I believe it's Peter. Let me know if I got that wrong, but yeah, just a little thick for me, and that's the VLD. And then we have the Hogue knives. What is this one called? The X1-MF. They call it the Microflip, and I mistakenly said this was assisted in my unboxing, and maybe even in another knife or another video where I used it to unbox, I said it was assisted. This is not assisted. I did a little research, crowd research by posting on Instagram and asking questions, and I've been told that it just has this interesting pivot system where there's no washers or bearings or anything in there. The blade just rides on the scales, actually. These are aluminum scales. The blade rides on the scales, and then it has this button lock that I don't know how it works, but somehow it like kind of gives it a little extra gas on the way out, because you can see when it closes, it's not assisted. That was manual. It dropped all the way to here. And then this last little bit, because of the button lock, you have to kind of overcome that. But it's not a spring or anything. It's a very interesting design. A lot of people love it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I've been told if you hold the button down, you'll get it to fall all the way. But that's not true. I'm holding it down right now, and I still have to get past that hump, or I don't know what to call it. It has a lock on it, so when it's in the open position, you can click this, and now it's not going anywhere. There is play if you push the button in with the lock on, so it's not necessarily locked up solid, but it's not going to close on you. And then you unlock it, and then you can go ahead and close it. Without the lock on, we have no play, not even side to side, so that's nice. Aesthetically, it kind of looks like some kind of a fish to me, like a shark or something. Um, Again, this is not one that I would pick out personally, but we can kind of see Brad's taste here a little bit. Now, Brad has a very kind of eclectic taste and collection, so he has all different stuff. But if you take a look at these two, they're fairly similar in terms of shape and design. So you can kind of see some of the things that Brad's into, which is awesome. It's really cool to see what other people are into. Because if I send people knives, I'm sure they see, the kind of stuff that I'm into at the time. Like I'm really into drop points, mostly satin blades, and lately, Tantos. So, but yeah, so this is a Hogue. This has an amazing blade on it. It is razor sharp. That is the outstanding feature of this knife. This one, I believe, does have a hollow grind. Yeah, this looks to be a hollow on this one. It comes to a very fine tip here. It's almost like a worn cliff, but I think it has a little bit of belly in it here. This is an Alan Elishewitz design. Classic knife here that a lot of people love. It's CPM 154. I did carry this. It wasn't bad to carry. You can reverse the clip to lefty, so we got a little love there. It functions well left-handed. I actually prefer my button locks at this point, other than like the smock. I prefer the right-handed button lock because I'm used to this index finger push. It just didn't work on the Spyderco smock for me. One of the downsides to this knife is you can still fail it, so it feels assisted, but only if you really, flip it. That sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I can fail this relatively easily. If I go to the brake, it does not fly out all the way. I have to kind of, light switch it down, which is fine. That's how a lot of knives are. And I'm kind of learning that because I expect knives to shoot out when I deploy them, but that's just not the case. So, yeah, it's just an interesting one. This is the Hogue X1 MF or Microflip. Cool little guy if you're looking for something to keep in your pocket as like a really cool little package opener or little work knife, kind of utility style knife. I could definitely recommend this to a lefty, a righty, anybody, because it's just very, very handy, and it's small and kind of you could tuck it away, no problem. And it has the lock on there, so you could do some heavy work with it if you wanted to. Last but not least, guys, we have SOG here. This is the Flash AT, and this is actually an assisted knife. It is in Cryo D2. So check that out, Cryo D2. And over here you have, oh God, what is it? Studies and Observations Group. Did I get that? Yes, I got that. Okay. I always call it Special Operations Group. And you can see here it has the axis lock on it. I'm sorry, the, oh my God, what do they call it? Terminus XR, the XR lock. And it makes me want to flip it closed, but this is an assisted knife. So, you have a spring you have to overcome, but it's on studs. So it's a really interesting setup because I like it, actually. I like the deployment on this with the studs because you don't have to worry about detent being an issue. Once you get it going, it flies out. And to me, that's awesome. But the downside to that is this. I can't close it with one hand. So if you're okay with that, then this is actually a really intriguing knife, in my opinion. I love the blue on here. I like the blue with the black. It's just a cool colorway. This would just be a fantastic work knife, to keep in your truck or keep in your bag. You wouldn't be afraid to kind of beat up on this thing. It has a fantastic drop point blade, Really reminds me of a bug out. Has a flat grind right here going about 3/4 of the way down. Just a really sweet blade. Ergonomics are really good with this thing, even though it has this lock back here on the spine, which I absolutely despise. I hate any kind of lock on the spine of a knife or even on the front, like on that Hogue. I'm not a fan of that either. You know, sometimes you got to deal with it, but this action is just really good. Problem is with the lock, if you accidentally, because it's fun to play with, right? Because it's right here and it's clicky. And when you're sitting around, you just kind of play with it. And then you can't remember which way you did it. And if you lock it, then you can't open the knife and you just tear your thumbs up. So you just got to be careful with that and know what you're doing. But yeah, the action on this is fun. The opening action. You know, I don't like spring knives or assisted knives because of this right here. But overall, I'm not sure what the price is on all of these, actually. I apologize. I probably should have looked that up. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess $200 to $225 on the VLD. I'm going to guess right around $120 for this guy, the Microflip. And then for this SOG, Flash AT, man, this is a tough one. My gut would tell me it should be like $70, but I'm going to go ahead and guess this is right around $100, $110 from Studies and Observations Group. So let me know how I did, guys, on the pricing there. Huge shout out to Brad, my old man at EDC, just such a great guy in this community. I can't say enough about him. I so appreciate you sending these my way, Brad. This was so much fun to play with these knives that I normally would not pick up or get in or pay for myself. And it's just really fun to do that. And you're the man for sending them my way. So I will catch you guys later. I hope you have a great night and stay safe.